Welcome back to Roar Career Talk, the podcast where we skip the fluff and talk about what actually matters in real careers. Today's guest is Vandana Singh. She's literally building the future of work as we speak. She is a senior technical program manager at Amazon Web Services, where she's currently managing generative AI programs for Amazon Q, the AI assistants that transforming how millions of people work. Here's what makes today's conversation so timely. While everyone's talking about AI taking over jobs, Vandana is actually on the front lines building AI programs that enhance human capability. So, if you ever wondered what the future of work actually means in practical terms, or how leaders can successfully implement AI without leaving their teams behind, this conversation is for you. Vandana, welcome to Roar Career Talk. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Violetta, I'm very excited to be a guest on your podcast, and this generative AI topic is very close to my heart. So I'm very excited to be here sharing my views and what I feel about how generative AI can transform the world.
Fantastic, perfect. So, since we already mentioned about the future of work, right? So, in your personal opinion, what does the future of work mean for today's leaders, professionals, and how is AI accelerating it?
So, for me, the future of work is actually about reimagining how teams collaborate, how teams deliver value in an environment which is rapidly changing with this Gen AI. At Amazon and in my current role as well as in my previous role, I have seen firsthand how AI is actually shifting focus from your repetitive manual day-to-day tasks to more strategic, more customer-centric work. For example, with AI, I feel that the mundane task of writing a status report or writing an email, you can do that in very quickly with the right set of prompts, right set of input, and it just actually needs very little tweaking. And then voila, you will have a very good status report or a very good dashboard which you can send out to the executives immediately. While I see that that now leaders are adopting Gen AI in every aspects of their work, it is important to understand that this technology is still in its infancy. So, in order to ensure that we all are part of this Gen AI revolution, it is important that leaders today must foster adaptability, invest in upskilling, and create a culture where employees understand that AI is not here to replace them, but AI is here to augment their work.
Yeah, definitely agree with you that um, AI tools like AI programs, AI bots like voice AI chatbots, right, are all here just to help us professionals, right, to thrive at our works, to be better leaders, and as you mentioned, like be just, far from these like manual repetitive tasks. And I'm really happy that we live in this AI era where we can just thrive at our works, implement and adopt AI. And yeah, this is super exciting for all of us. And since you like your main responsibility at work is like implement these like Gen AI programs, right? So Vandana, what does a Gen AI program mean for leaders who might hear this term for the first time? Right? Because for all of us, like AI, it means like, okay, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, that's it. But what is like Gen AI program?
Yeah. So I have been managing Gen AI programs since last 2.5 years, and managing Gen AI programs, that means the program that you are managing actually leverages Gen AI capability, which is powered by your foundation models. So Gen AI capability could be generating content, generating text, generating images, and you can use these Gen AI capabilities for various things, where you can use it in summarization, you can use it for brainstorming, or even to write FAQ for your for any kind of report, right? So it's like, I feel that AI is more like your assistant, and you can use it to augment your work. And managing Gen AI program actually involves ensuring that while you are building these Gen AI capabilities, you are taking into consideration legal aspect of it, security aspect of it, compliance aspect of it. So it basically ensures that whatever guardrails that you need to have in place, whether in terms of input, whether in terms of output, or whether how you are using some of the input in processing user, basically how you are passing all this user input to LLMs to generate content, you need to ensure that you have good guardrails around it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, managing Gen AI program would also mean that you need to have a team working on the data quality and evaluation aspect of it, so that when you start building any AI product, you start small, and then you need to ensure that the evaluation metrics that you have in place are also moving in the right direction while you are building your AI solution. So so that is what I mean, that while you are building a Gen AI program, you need to ensure that you are looking not only on building solution, but ensuring that you are working legal, compliance, security. You have your science team looking at your evaluation data, developing metrics, refining them, and iterating over them as you build on your prototype and solution.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
also, last, ensure that you monitor your AI product once you deliver it, because it's not like you just forget about it. It needs continuous monitoring to ensure that if it needs model update, or if you are seeing any errors, you are taking care of it, and you have that feedback loop to ensure that you are building a stable and good product.
Wow, that's all sounds fantastic and also overwhelming probably for, the senior roles for like program managers or project managers, but it's really great that you covered this like such specific details about like what does it mean like Gen AI program, what does it mean to implement it, right? And just for any project manager or program manager who's looking to build a career in the companies who are looking into implementing this like Gen AI programs or projects, this is a really great insight that you need to work with like multiple teams, making sure that everything is like compliant under the, following all these like legal check marks, check boxes, right? That everything is like, up to date also, and constantly like monitoring things. This is very important to remember that it's not just, managing AI programs, it's like those like AI tools would be do the work instead of me, and I'm just like overseeing. Like, no, that's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
not that.
Responsible AI. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very responsible. So I'm glad that we covered this part, and maybe some people realize that, oh, that's really sounds like challenging, but also interesting, right? So I would go and just apply for these positions, which is great. So yeah, but at the same time, there are organizations who are still who are still afraid of implementing any of the programs, right? Or even like some of the AI tools. And I know that like lots of employees around the world, like in the famous even companies, right? They are not allowed to use any of the AI tools, even like for example Grammarly, which just checks your grammar, which is like super basic thing, right? In your email. So they are not even allowed to install this, not even talking about like working or implementing some of the Gen AI programs. But at the same time, there are still organizations who are super early on that and still want to do that. So Vandana, from your personal experience, like what are the most important first steps for organizations who are looking to implement their first generative AI program? Like what they need to do first?
Yeah. First of all, I would just say that because now we are living in an era where Gen AI is everywhere, it is important to understand that we all need to don customers' hat and understand that we need to have an opportunity and right problem, uh, problem that AI can tackle, rather than implementing the solution first. So that is the first step, that start with a customer problem or actual business problem that you think you can solve by AI. Second, I would say ensure that the data quality that you have in place, which will be useful for your AI solution, is of good quality, because garbage in, garbage out. So ensure that you clean, you cleanse, you scrub, and you have the right data that feeding into LLM or ML model to get the desired output. Third, I would say that start small, start with a pilot product, and look at your metrics on like how it is progressing. Fourth, I would say that have a feedback loop. So have show your product to your customers and get their feedback, and then implement that into your product. And as we know, as we are talking, we know that Gen AI is everywhere. More foundation models are getting upgraded every day. We are getting these new intelligent models from Claude or from OpenAI and all of that. So it is important that you solve it. You don't wait for perfect product. You start small and iterate over it.
Love it. Yeah, that's a gold advice here, that, first step is always start with like customer problem, right? So is even like what we are trying to solve exist, right? Because like just having some of the, AI program or project or just the tool, just because we want to have it, it's not like really, solves any of the world's problems or people or customer problems. So that's a really good advice here. Start with the problem that customers are trying to solve, right? Maybe start with like even interviewing some people to see like what's lacking in the market, right? Or just maybe in the company, right? So what the employees want, what the customers want. So this is very important. And I love how you emphasize like about the feedback loop and iteration, right? Because even I think as we speak, there is like more and more some of the AI tools, AI programs, like meeting the world even now. So this world is super fast paced. And we need to get that feedback as soon as possible, making sure that we are not working on something that is already outdated, right? So
Yeah. And we basically have customers for the product that we are building, right? Because ultimately everybody wants profit, or everyone wants to ensure that they are getting ROI on the product they are building. So starting from customer problem is the right first step.
yeah, love it. Great. And what, like, talking about like the mistakes, right? So, what's the biggest mistake you see leaders making when they try to rush into AI adoption?
I think chasing AI just for the sake of it, I feel that these days, because there is so much competition everywhere, that everybody wants to use AI without actually understanding whether AI would actually solve their problem or not. So I feel that without getting pressurized, it is important that you need to have the solution first mindset, right? You actually first need to understand that the problem that you are trying to solve is actually the real problem, and if that is something which can be solved by AI. So that is what I would say, that have a solution, have customer first, understand the customer problem, and then develop a solution for it. Second, you need to ensure that you should be open in, I mean, directly building a product without, like, what I would like to say is that one should not directly invest too much into building a solution in the very first instance. First, I think you need to have couple of folks do some kind of experimentation around the product that you are building, so that you can test the water and see that if it is actually a good product, or if there is a market out there for that product. And that way you need to ensure that you have the data quality and readiness for the product available, so that you do not get into bias, and you are able to build a product which is actually useful for the customer. So I would say that do not neglect the data quality and readiness. Third is ensure that you are not, as a leader, you are just not investing in the technology. Basically, you are not just investing in getting the increased token limit, buying investing in the new foundation models, but you are also investing in your employees so that they also are up, they can also get knowledge about AI. They are also upskilled, they get trained, and while you are bringing this cultural change of telling people to augment to basically augment their work with AI, you bring people along. Do not overlook people or talent. Invest in training. That would be my third thing. Fourth thing, I would say that do not treat AI as set it and forget it. You need to ensure that you are monitoring your systems, so that in case if you find any issues, you are able to report it. Your engineers can fix it. In case if you see that it needs training or it needs upgrading of model, and in case, for example, if any new law comes into picture, you need to ensure that your system adheres to it. Like any new AI regulation, for example, say EU AI Act or anything, you need to ensure that you are able to maintain your system to meet all those standards. So those are the couple of things which I think companies need to do without directly jumping into AI solution.
Right, perfect, amazing. Yeah, and you mentioned like number three is for the companies invest in their employees, invest in their like knowledge around the AI, and build this basically AI culture, right? So the employee basically know what they need to do with their work, with their like projects, right? So they are also in this like topic. And talking about like this, maybe you have some, example from your work at Amazon where the company like invested in your knowledge, right, or in your colleagues' knowledge around the AI topic, especially like you're working on such complex implementation projects around AI.
Yeah. So we do have, like within Amazon, we do have machine learning university, which is not open to general public. So that is that way. It contains very good hands-on trainings, which I did in order to ensure that I remain up to date with what is happening in Gen AI space. And for folks outside Amazon, you have AWS Skill Builder, then you have different AWS certifications, AI certifications, so that folks can share their expertise with folks. And in addition to these Amazon resources, I have found deep learning also very useful. Like I did Gen AI for Everyone course from deep learning that helped set my foundation for Gen AI. Then investing in good prompting courses, and also there are short courses by deep learning, which are around 1 to 2 hours. Like recently, I did one on small agent and one on model context protocol. So there are these courses. These courses are very small, but they will help you get in-depth knowledge on one of these topics. And lastly, following all these leaders who are doing big things in AI, for example, whether it is Perplexity CEO or Anthropic as a company, Sam Altman, and all of that. So there is a plethora of knowledge everywhere, but you just need to be selective and ensure that you set aside 15-20 minutes every day to read what is happening in the latest AI world to keep you up to date.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely, like this is a golden advice. Like just spend 10-15 minutes on a daily basis just going through, all the news in the AI space, because I think while we sleep there are already like, all the new Gen AI programs, tools, apps that we need to, keep up with. And yeah, so since this world is like changing super fast, right? So how do you address like employee fears about AI replacing jobs? right? Because I see lots of content and posts on the LinkedIn that like people are actually like afraid of that like in 5 years maybe AI will completely replace their job. Like how can you address these fears? Like what are your thoughts around this?
Frankly, I feel, as said by NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, that AI will not replace humans, but those who use AI will replace those who don't. So it is important that, given we are living in an era which is Gen AI era, where artificial intelligence is in every industry, every job, that we all get ourselves skilled in it. And also it is important to understand that it is not only important to get the knowledge, but also to see how you can get Gen AI, you can use Gen AI in your day-to-day work. So I believe that every individual should ask that how can I use AI to make me more smarter, finish my work faster, be more creative, and how I can use AI to solve my problems. And second, so this is what my advice to everybody would be. But from a leadership perspective, I see that, I feel that leaders need to be very transparent and empathetic towards it, because as you see all these articles everywhere that AI will replace humans, it is important that when you are when you are bringing this cultural shift, you need to ensure that you are building that trust in your employees, and also being transparent where folks understand that, say that this part of their job would be automated, but still humans would be needed to make high judgment decision, and creative decision, and all of that. So folks need to realize that AI is here to automate your repetitive task, but that means that you have more time available, and you can use this time to create innovative products. So what I would suggest is that, you need to have that mindset that AI is your assistant which can help solve your problem, and ultimately it is on leader to understand when to use AI and when to follow their heart.
Love it. Yeah. So it's just like, following your advice, consider AI as your like extension, right? As your assistant to just help you not to dive into those like monotonous routine work, but rather than finding the right solutions for your work, for the team you're working with, right? So how to make these like strategic decisions. And at the end of the day, I think that like even in 5, 10 years, people will still be, appreciated and useful at their works, because those would be actually the people who will be managing all of these like, AI initiatives, AI tools, programs, and things that AI basically replacing. So, and I agree with you, like just, invest in your growth, in your education around this topic. And instead of just spreading this fear or just sitting, at the end of your work that, oh, okay, so AI will replace me. Instead of this, just invest your time in like more education, like, take another course, and, just every day become like 1% better in this topic, and you will see that in 1 year you'll be just, maybe you'll start posting on LinkedIn about that, how AI helped you to,
Create more content
reform.
or post, yeah.
Yeah, reform this like a monotonous and routine work. So for
Yeah.
sure, just put your energy into the energy that works for you, not against
I
you.
agree. And I don't think so that one needs to be fearful that AI will replace you. I think as long as you are investing in your AI upskilling courses, that will ensure that you remain relevant, and you will continue to use AI for your day-to-day work. It means that you will be more smarter, faster, and more creative.
Yeah, I love this positive note, to this conversation. This is great, really. And yeah, so considering that like AI is changing our world and like our workplaces and our teams, culture inside of these teams. So what do you think like will the workplace leadership look like in 5 years if AI trends like continue?
If the current trends continue, I think leaders will need to will need to be more data driven. They need to be more adaptive, given the pace at which AI is changing. They will also need to change their strategic direction, and they need to be more people focused. I believe that they will spend less time on administrative tasks or mundane tasks, and they will do what they are best at doing, inspiring people, building culture and purpose around it. Now, just for a thought, imagine fast 5 years into the future. For example, you're walking into an office where AI assistant has created a dashboard based on yesterday's performance. It has flagged some of the issues that it found, and it may potentially be able to find solution for some of the problems that your team may be struggling as well. So that's where I think that with all this agentic AI workflow now coming into picture, I feel that we will have agents uh, doing a lot of work for us, and we will not have to do all these mundane tasks. What I believe that we will have these agents in various places of our day-to-day business workflow, and we will not have to do all those mundane work. And in fact, for example, as I suggested, right, for example, if your agent has suggested some of the creative solution for the problems that arose from yesterday's performance, then maybe your team can look at it and see if it has provided the right solution, or if not, then you will still need human intelligence to fix those issues. So that is where I say that AI will complement while you work, but they will never replace. But it is important that leadership leadership emphasize this to their employees more, that AI will not replace them, but it will augment them in their work.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But I think we all need this like promotion of the culture that AI will just, help all of us, help the business to thrive, help the employees to thrive at their works. And I think even like in 5 years with this trend, people will be just more happier, right? Because like we will just give up on the mundane work and we'll just focus on more strategic work, even like for the business, for our brain, which is amazing, right? So we're not just stuck at some routine work.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm just imagining a world where you will have agents suggesting solution for complex problem. So that would help us building faster solution. But ultimately, you will still need human to audit it and to finally refine it. So that is where I say that AI is your assistant for the completion of work and not a replacement.
yeah, yeah, beautiful. And like to add to that, I just like like I personally, I cannot wait in 5 years to see how such industries as like biotechnology, manufacturing, pharmaceutical manufacturing will advance, like all the medicine, healthcare, right, with all of this like AI assistance. So I think that the progress in the world would be tremendous, right, in a positive way. So I cannot wait to see that. And while we are waiting for all of these changes, we'll just keep working on ourselves, keep working on learning all about the AI stuff. So yeah, really love that. And yeah, so final thoughts for people, for like project managers, professionals, program managers who are working just in their industries and never touched the AI topic, right? They never like worked with the Gen AI programs, but they decided to switch. They decided to pivot and maybe start from like small, from managing some of the Gen AI projects or programs. So what would you recommend to these people? Because they are like all professionals with like 5, 10, 15 years of experience. And what separates them from people who already work with like Gen AI programs is that they just didn't have this type of projects in their like work experience, right? But they still want to pivot. So what would be your suggestions for these people?
So that's a very good question. So what I would say is that for anybody, that you start small and focus on high impact areas that align with your business goals. you do not have to do everything all at once.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that you need to just start building prototypes, products, and because I believe that the actions actually build momentum and confidence. So anyone who wants to start out, I would just say that go through the basic courses, like what how an LLM functions, some basic courses on prompting, then basic courses now because we have agents, people are building agents, some basic knowledge on agentic AI. Then also ensure that you work with your product business, or if you have any passion project, then ensure that you understand the business goal or the market gap that you are trying to solve. Build prototype, um, seek feedback, iterate on it, leverage your network, seek out mentors, and invest in continuous learning. I would like to say that, like, I've met with so many professionals who are starting on this journey or who have been on this journey for 10 years. Like, for example, me, I just started working in Gen AI space only since last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I never had any machine learning background and all. But it is possible to start, and with now and with now all so many companies adopting AI in every aspect of job, I'm sure that you will find opportunity on how you can leverage AI to automate some of that work, and practical projects are the best way to learn it.
Yeah, definitely agree. Like hands-on approach always wins over the some of the theoretical thing. And I love that you mentioned that you've been in the space for the past, 3 years, which is also some of the great example that everything is possible. If you start today, maybe in 3 years you'll be also like the really leader in this space, AI space, and you would never fear about that like AI would replace your work. So yeah, super super valuable advice here. And yeah, that was absolutely eye-opening. Thank you so much, Vandana. And I really love that we dive deep into this topic and covered, the most common questions around the AI and what does like AI program means. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Violetta. It was fun chatting with you. The last thing that I just want to tell for whoever is listening or whoever is watching this episode is that each of us has imposter syndrome. It is
Mm-hmm.
important for us to overcome it, and take actions and move on. Trust me, everybody is, I mean, when I talk to people, everybody thinks that AI will replace their job. But as I mentioned, that ensure that you upskill yourself, and you will be fine.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Love the final thought here. Totally agree with that. Yeah, so for everyone listening, connect with Vandana on LinkedIn. And if you're a leader that feel overwhelmed by AI, remember Vandana's advice that start small, focus on the people, and don't try to do everything at once. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Until the next time, keep building career that's unapologetically yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.